I didn't think I was good enough to do it. I thought you had to be the best artist in the world, and then you had to be able to make it move. So I thought, well, I can't do that. So, as a kid, as a young kid, I was always drawing, and then when I came to high school, I took lots of art classes, and then when it came to college, I had to decide, okay, what am I going to do? So at the time, they were telling artists, hey, if you want to make a living as an artist, because they didn't make up the term starving artist, you could go into graphic design. That was a good place to get a job. So I went to a small college in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, and I took graphic design classes. And about halfway through, I realized I don't like this. So, but I was doing my projects, and I would just kind of do them to get them done. I wasn't really trying to do something great. I was just getting the project done. So one night when I was out with a friend, she said, like, so how are your classes going? And I'm like, don't like them. And she said, well, you're building a graphic design portfolio. When you graduate, you're going to have a graphic design portfolio, and you'll have to show this portfolio to people with your half-assed work. I was like, oh, crap, she's right. So, and I said, well, I don't know if I want to get into graphic design. I have nothing against it, it's just I don't really enjoy it. So she said, the most important sentence of my life, what is the job that you would laugh at people paying you to do? And I said, well, making cartoons. I mean, that's got to be the greatest job in the world. And she said, well, then why aren't you doing that? I said, I'm not good enough. I can't draw, my drawing, I'm not a great draftsman, and I can't make it move that well. And she said, well, you're in college. Now is the time to make yourself good enough. So I was like, all right, I'll show you. So I changed I probably should have transferred to a more animation-based school, but I was already well halfway through college. So I started taking independent studies. I worked with teachers that were into animation. I bought Disney's The Illusion of Life, the animation workbook, all this stuff, and started studying, and I started making films. And then when I graduated, I got a list of all the animation schools from Animation Magazine, and I went up to New York, and I just started knocking on doors and saying, like, hey, will you look at my portfolio? And many of them slammed the door in my face. Some called the police. So, I mean, I don't always recommend that's the best way to do it, but that's what I was doing. And at the time, there was really not a lot of animation work. So they thought it was just weird that someone was even interested. So eventually some suckers called Buzzco Associates gave me my first job. And it was literally an internship job where I was washing coffee cups, making deliveries, but in between all that stuff, they would teach me animation. And one of the owners of the studio was named Vinny Caffarelli. He used to animate on old Popeye cartoons. He was this really awesome old character, great animator. And every night after work, he would sit with me with a pack of cigarettes and a bottle of champagne, and he'd say, all right, tonight you learn exposure shoots. And I mean, how amazing. I was being, this guy was teaching me, and I was getting paid. I wasn't paying him. So that was my first, sort of lesson into animation. And once you start working, every day you're getting better and better and better. You see your drawing start to really climb. So here's another thing about animation that something to scare you away. Animation jobs don't always last very long. So my first job was for 10 months at Buzzco. And there was no more work, so they had to let us go, and I was wailing to a friend I had made saying, we'll never work together again! He was like, whatever. A week later, we were working together on Doug for Nickelodeon, which was, now, Buzzco was a small TV studio, just a small mom and pop shop, and we were learning I was learning everything. I was learning how to in-between, I was learning how to paint on cell, I was learning how to make deliveries, I was learning how to vacuum the floor. I was also learning how to actually animate stuff. So I was building these skills. Then at Jumbo was a big studio, it was a TV show. So I was an assistant layout artist to a guy named Dave Concepcion, he would rough out drawings, and then I would clean them up and put them on model. So now I'm learning how to put things on model, because everyone in the studio is drawing, and they all have to look the same. So you've all seen model sheets, right? So that's what you're keeping to, these rules of how to draw the characters. Now Jumbo Pictures, that only lasted a short while. And then I got hired at a place called J.J. Settlemyre Productions. There we did a ton of commercials, and I started to really become more of an animator. I was the head of the animation room, and then we started doing things like Beavis and Butthead. So I was the character designer of the first season of Beavis and Butthead. So I was sort of like the $1.98 version of Mike Judge. So here, I was learning how to be a production designer. Now notice, working my way up, and this is over a matter of years, because it doesn't come fast. You're not going to be a director your first year, you're not going to be a director your first 4 years probably. Then, also at JJ Sailor Productions, we did new episodes of Schoolhouse Rock, we did TV Funhouse, and we did, anyone know who Fido Dido is? Is that a 7-Up commercial guy with a triangle-shaped head? There was a woman that, we would do 7-Up commercials for Fido Dido, and my personal drawings looked a lot like these drawings. And she, Susan Rose, who created Fido Dido, eventually started pitching a show called Pepper Ann. Now, she pitched the show, and the network said, well, it kind of looks too much like Fido Dido. You and Tom have such a similar style. Why don't you have Tom do the drawings for Pepper Ann? So I did, and it became a series. So on that show, I was the character designer, and the show was being done in California, but I still lived in New York. So, and I skipped that part. When I got, I moved up to New York City when I got that job, which was a huge move. We got only so many places you could go, New York, LA. So I became the character designer on Pepper Ann. And then I started, I did the drawings for the show Bible, and I started thinking, hey, wait, I can do this. So I started saying, what if I do my own show? And I thought of an idea of a kid named Kenny who had a pain in the neck chip for a pet. And in that Bible, there were some characters who lived next door to Kenny called the Kids Next Door. Now, they weren't a global organization yet. They weren't fighting against evil adult supervillains. They were just 5 kids who lived in a house with no adult supervision that just got Kenny in trouble. So, Cartoon Network flew me out to LA, where I met Maxwell Adams, who also had a pilot in the works called The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. And we became super, super good friends. And to this day, he's here. We've been hanging out, drinking margaritas. This is awesome. So, he got a show first. While I was doing my pilot for Kenny and the Chimp. Now, once the pilot for Kenny and the Chimp was done, I read the writing on the wall. I kind of got the idea Cartoon Network wasn't going to do a series based on it. So I did a new Bible for Kids Next Door. I thought of it as this global organization that fights against adult supervillains who want to do things like raise the drinking age of soda up to 13, or want to make summer school year-round. So I pitched it to Cartoon Network, and they said, yeah, let's do the whole thing again. So they flew me back out to LA. I hung out with Maxwell Adams and drank a lot of margaritas. And we made a pilot. But that year, they decided to do, for the second time, the Big Pig Weekend, where they let the viewers decide which show would become a series. Maxwell Adams won. They made 3 shows, and the viewers chose his show to become a series. With mine, they decided to have 10. So I was up against 9, and that jerk only had to go up against 2. So, all summer we had to go through showing all these pilots over and over again, and I'm campaigning, going on the Pokemon message boards and saying, watch my cartoon! Because I like Pokemon. I'm not kidding. So the new game comes out in November or something like that, so get ready. So, I had to find out on the air, just like everyone else, that I got a series. So first they showed the second runner-up. So I'm like, not mine, yes! I didn't write this one. Maybe you have to sit through that cartoon, and then you have to go through a commercial, and you're like, come on! And then, at this point you don't even care. Like, I don't even care about the series, just get it over with. Then the second episode, the first runner-up shows, not mine, yes. We'll have to sit through that, have to sit through another commercial, then finally, and now, the winner of the Big Pig Weekend. Now, if any of you remember the pilot, no pee in the pool. It starts on black and you hear the sound of the phone ringing. TV turned black, which, it always goes in black after a commercial. And all I had to hear was half a beat of that. My wife had me in a headlock, by the way. My nose was on the TV. All I had to do was half a beat of that phone ring, and then I put my head on the ground and said, "Oh crap! Now I have to make that cartoon." Greatest day of my life. I mean, really. I got a cartoon, which is Kids Next Door was the 12th original show on Cartoon Network. That's 12 people who had a cartoon before me on Cartoon Network. That's not a lot. So think about it, how many people get cartoons? It's not easy. So we made it. So at the time, while I was waiting to see what happened with Kids Next Door, I was working on. I came back from California after making the pilot. I started working with Mo Willems on Sheep in the Big City. I was a director on that show. Mo and I became super, super good friends. And even when his show got canceled, mine got picked up. So what we did was we flipped the studio. He became my head writer. We traded office, so I got the good office, and I went ahead. But he got his revenge. He's a super famous children's book author now. I keep telling, and when he left after 4th season, I kept saying, he'll be back. And he still hasn't come back. So maybe when I get back to the States, he'll be there saying, good job. So we flipped the staff, we kept the production staff, and we made the show. So, making a show. Who here wants to have their own TV show? You're out of your minds.